Esther Williams and Jeff Chandler had an unhappy romance, while Chandler is more recognized for his performance as Broken Arrow's Cochise. This film exposes the scandalous and stunning story that explains why he hates her so much. Yet there's more. You will also learn unexpected facts regarding Chandler's private life and professional difficulties. We must comprehend Chandler's formative experiences before delving into the explosive rumors and his romantic fortunes. On December 15, 1918, in Brooklyn, New York, Ira Grossel was born Jeff Chandler. Anna and Philip Grossel were Jews, and he was their only child. During his childhood, when his parents divorced, his mother brought Chandler up. Chandler discovered comfort in writing and performing at a young age, and he was captivated by the arts ever since. His passion for performing flourished while he was a student at Erasmus Hall High School. Stars like Susan Hayward were among his classmates. Chandler first followed a more pragmatic route, despite his strong desire to be an actor. He began his career as a restaurant cashier thanks to his father's connections in the industry, but performing was where Chandler's passion lay. Unfortunately, acting classes were too pricey for him, so he spent a year studying commercial painting instead. In this period, he was making $18 per week as a layout artist for a mail-order catalog. Chandler put save enough money to attend New York's Fagan School of Dramatic Art for acting classes since he was hell-bent on pursuing his ambition. His doggedness paid off when he got a job in radio and later a position on Long Island with a stock company, where he was an actor and stage manager. Chandler worked as a stock agent for 2 years, during which time he appeared in The Trojan Horse alongside Gordon and Sheila McRae, two well-known actors. Chandler took a risk in the summer of 1941 when he established the Shady Lane Playhouse in Illinois as his own organization. While touring the Midwest, the troupe presented productions of works such as Pigs, The Bad Man's Seventh Heaven, and The New Minister. The endeavor was somewhat fruitful, demonstrating Chandler's commitment to his profession. Chandler joined the Army when America became a combatant in WWII. He achieved the rank of lieutenant after 4 years of service, the majority of which he spent in the Aleutians. Although it was a difficult time for him, he learned discipline and resilience from it. With $3,000 in savings, Chandler relocated to Los Angeles in December 1945, following the war. He was severely injured in a car accident shortly after his arrival while his route to a screening, leaving a noticeable scar on his forehead. Chandler remained resolute in the face of this obstacle. Initially, he spent all of his cash trying to get work in Hollywood. When he got his first job acting on the radio in May of 1946, it was his big break. Thanks to his roles in anthology dramas like Academy Award Theater and Escape, Chandler's voice became instantly recognizable to viewers. He became famous for his starring role in the radio show Michael Shane. Chandler made history as the first actor to play frontier town's Chad Remington. Chandler landed his first film job as a gangster in Johnny O'Clock, 1947, thanks to actor Dick Powell, who was impressed with his radio work. It was a big deal for his career, even though his part was minor. He was unsuccessful in his audition for the role of Carmen in Columbia's The Loves of Carmen. But he kept appearing in supporting roles in movies like Mr. Belvedere Goes to College, The Invisible Wall, and Roses Are Red. Playing the part of Eve Arden's romantic interest on the radio show Our Miss Brooks was Chandler's big break. Launched in July 1948, the show quickly became a smashing success. After seeing him perform, the bosses at Universal cast him as the leader of the Israeli army in the 1949 film Sword in the Desert. Universal signed him to a 7-year contract after seeing his stellar work. With this deal, Chandler made her film debut in 1949's Abandon, playing a supporting role. This was the turning point in his career that propelled him to stardom in Hollywood. He had an impressive cinematic career that began with his charismatic, talented performances, which won over viewers. Jeff Chandler's meteoric climb to fame mirrored the intensity of the parts he performed. At 20th Century Fox, writer-director Delmer Daves was searching for the ideal actor to play Cochise in Broken Arrow in 1950. The casting process proved challenging. Daves was in need of an unknown, physically intimidating actor to give him credibility. In May of 1949, the company borrowed Chandler from Universal for the part after seeing his portrayal as a guerrilla leader in Sword in the Desert. The bet was successful. In addition to cementing Chandler's position as a Hollywood superstar, the smash hit Broken Arrow garnered him an Academy Award nomination. He made history by being the first actor to receive an Oscar nomination for playing an American Indian. After Broken Arrow was a smashing success, Universal once again cast Chandler as their main man. However, neither Death on a Side Street nor The Lady Count came to fruition, despite his initial casting in both. Rather, he played a fortunate Luciano-style gangster in Deported, a part that was originally designed for Dana Andrews. Even though Chandler had to have some scenes shot in Hollywood due to his radio obligations, the movie nonetheless managed to highlight his flexibility by taking place on location in Italy. Under Robert Wise's direction, Chandler portrayed a disgruntled Union cavalryman in Two Flags West, his second feature film for Fox. He stepped in for Lee Jacob and became a supporting actor, an abrupt change from his typical leading guy role. He had to travel a lot for this part since he had to go to and from Hollywood for filming. When Chandler returned to Universal, he portrayed a character that was quite true to himself, an adventurer in Smuggler's Island. Despite this, his unusually bony features led Hollywood to cast him in roles starring people of many different countries. In 1951's Bird of Paradise, he reunited with Delmer Daves and Fox to portray a chief from Polynesia, a part that Chandler acknowledged was comparable to his portrayal of Cochise. Chandler returned to Universal in 1951 for Iron Man, a remake of an older Lou Ayres film in which he portrayed a boxer. The Wild Bunch, in which he was supposed to star, was never actually produced. On the contrary, he co-starred with Maureen O'Hara as an Arab chief in 1951's Flame of Araby. Chandler started to complain about how cinema acting was different from radio acting around this time. The actors' voices were the only means of physically embodying their roles. While making a picture, the producer, director, and editor were mostly responsible for the performance. For Universal, Chandler was Cochise again in The Battle at Apache Pass, a Western. After that, he had roles in the swashbuckler Yankee Buccaneer and the military film Red Ball Express. The role he later proclaimed as his favorite was supporting Loretta Young in Because of You, and he also had a cameo in Meet Danny Wilson. Young praised Chandler's charisma and said he was more of a character than an actor. When it came to exhibitors, Chandler had risen to the position of 22nd most popular star in the United States by 1952. He was desired by Fox for important roles, but Universal, who saw his potential, would not let him go. Miss Brooks, his radio show, made the jump to television. Unfortunately, Chandler's contract restrictions prevented him from joining. Robert Rockwell was cast in his stead. It was during this decade that Chandler's singing talent was first heard on Peggy Lee's radio show, and he continued to pursue this passion. Chandler increased his pay in July 1952 when he signed a new contract with Universal. Under this deal, he appeared in westerns such as The Great Sioux Uprising, East of Sumatra, and War Arrow, co-starring Maureen O'Hara. Chandler passed on major parts, such as the lead in the critically acclaimed adaptation of Magnificent Obsession and Demetrius in the Robe. Rather, he reprised his role as Cochise in Taza, Son of Cochise. Co-starring Rock Hudson, Hudson would subsequently surpass Chandler as the leading male star at Universal. Victor Mature ended up playing Chief Crazy Horse, even though Universal had originally cast Chandler. Yankee Pasha was a better fit for Chandler, and he soon started performing in nightclubs. Because of the hectic schedule of the program, he decided to take a break after 5 years with Miss Brooks. As Emperor Martian, Chandler starred in the pricey epic Sign of the Pagan. He also co-starred with Jane Russell in the 1955 film Foxfire, which he liked for its language. After collaborating with Joan Crawford on Female on the Beach, he started releasing music. In 1954, Chandler became aware of the increasing difficulty of his tasks. His film and music commitments required him to travel constantly, which made it difficult for him to claim any time as his own. He was suspended from Universal and replaced by George Nader in May after he declined to play the lead in Six Bridges to Cross. Despite Chandler's claims, he never actually worked with Tony Curtis or Janet Leigh on a film. He bemoaned the fact that he couldn't go anywhere unobserved due to his reputation and the resulting loss of personal freedom. In order to avoid being stereotyped as tight-fisted, I had to consistently leave huge tips. Regardless of his dissatisfaction, Chandler persisted in his collaboration with Universal. Another suspension followed his rejection of the part of Lady Godiva of Coventry. He made a triumphant return that year with The Spoilers and went on to appear in Away All Boats, a major release for Universal. Chandler, who isn't a natural vocalist, received compliments for his performance at May's Riviera Hotel show in Sin City. He made a comedic turn in his fourth film of the year, The Toy Tiger, after starring in the western Pillars of the Sky. Even though he had renewed his acting contract with Universal, Chandler had already established his production company, Earlmar, before year's end with the intention of producing pictures. Chandler produced and starred in the western Drango, and Earlmar inked a deal with United Artists. Even though he had purchased the rights to a book, Earlmar's sole creation was Drango. The Tattered Dress and Man in the Shadow, both produced by Orson Welles, were Chandler's last two features under his initial deal with Universal. He promised to remain active in the industry for a long time by committing to making 2 films a year at Universal until 1959. Like his on-screen personas, Jeff Chandler's real life was full of drama. Marjorie Hochul, an actress, was his wife for 46 years. Jamie Tucker and Dana Grossel were born to the couple in 1947 and 1949, respectively, but their marriage was full of ups and downs. They went their separate ways between 1951 and 1954. I filed for a divorce from Marjorie in 1954, claiming that Chandler was always too tired to stay awake, causing him to doze off no matter where we went. Attempting to make amends for their family, they reconnected for a short time in March 1955, but it was short-lived. While collaborating with Esther Williams on a 1957 picture, Chandler engaged in an extramarital romance. By the year's end, Marjorie had filed for a divorce, all because of this affair. Hollywood was shocked by the incident. The most shocking event, however, did not occur until 1999, when Esther Williams' memoirs, The $1 Million Mermaid, was published. Williams said in her autobiography that Chandler liked to dress like a woman. She claims that the epiphany occurred one night while Chandler, a traditionally masculine figure, stood before her dressed in a dress and high heels. According to Williams, he relished activities of that nature. He used both identities. Many were taken aback by the assertion, particularly because Chandler had already died in 1961 and was unable to defend himself. Williams' assertions were immediately denied by Chandler's friends and co-workers. In 1955, while filming Foxfire, Jane Russell befriended Chandler and voiced her disbelief. "This is something I've never heard of before. I would never expect Jeff to engage in cross-dressing." She shot back that he was an adorable gentleman and an all-man. According to Marsha Hunt, who co-starred with Chandler in 1960's The Plunderers, it was jaw-dropping. "Nothing Jeff did or said ever gave me that impression. No one on set ever joked or discussed anything like that," according to actor Fess Parker, who co-starred with Chandler in the 1959 western The Jayhawkers. In spite of the rejections, Williams maintained her account. "Why on earth would I tell Jane Russell about a personal problem as intimate as that?" she said, laughing off the notion of disclosing such a private matter to Russell. A great deal of Chandler's legacy was overshadowed by the affair and the cross-dressing accusations, which further tarnished his public image. The financial obligations that Chandler had were exposed in his divorce papers from 1958. His monthly allowance to his wife was $1,500. In 1957, he earned $60,000 a film under his contract with Universal, and in 1958, he earned $75,000 per film. With a personal manager, a business manager, and an agent eating up 25% of Chandler's salary, he still had a lot of money to spend. The judge mandated that Chandler maintain his monthly payment of $1,500 to his wife. June 1959 was the final month of their divorce. As part of the agreement, Chandler had to pay Marjorie $100,000 plus alimony of more than $2,166 per month and child support of $500 per month. Chandler, Marjorie said, became so engrossed in his career that he neglected to work on pictures when he wasn't in his office, which caused her to get an ulcer. Like his early career, Jeff Chandler's twilight years were full of exciting events. His outspoken backing of Israel's 1956 invasion of Egypt and the Suez Crisis had far-reaching consequences. The United Arab Republic spearheaded an effort to have his films banned in Arab nations in 1960. But this didn't stop Chandler from becoming involved in Hollywood. He represented the Screen Actors Guild during the 1960 actors' strike as a committed Democrat. Chandler was in the Philippines filming Merrill's Marauders when tragedy struck. As an extra for the film, he hurt his back playing baseball with members of the United States Army Special Forces on April 15, 1961. Injections helped him get through the production, even though they were painful. Though the damage was substantial, he had to have surgery in Culver City, California to repair a herniated spinal disc on May 13, 1961. Serious problems originated from the operation. Chandler started bleeding after an artery was damaged. During a 7.5-hour emergency procedure on May 17th, he got 55 pints of blood. 20 more pints of blood were required for a third operation that took place on May 27th. Chandler passed away on June 17, 1961, after a blood illness and pneumonia had taken hold of him. British actress Barbara Shelley was Chandler's partner when he passed away. Pallbearers Tony Curtis and Gerald Moore were among the more than 1,500 mourners who paid their respects at his funeral. Culver City's Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery is where Chandler was laid to rest. Medical misconduct was found to be the cause of Chandler's death after an investigation. After suing the medical facility and its staff for $1.5 million, his children settled for $233,258. The parties to the settlement signed a joint statement in which neither the hospital nor the doctors admitted any wrongdoing. The girls were left $600,000 by Chandler. His ex-wife claimed debts from their divorce settlement and filed a $80,000 lawsuit against the estate. In spite of the legal disputes, Chandler's impact on Hollywood lingered. Chandler was considered shy despite his reputation for paying close attention to detail. His co-workers, however, spoke of his carefree attitude as a way to alleviate the stresses of filmmaking. Broken Arrow, Battle of Apache Pass, Two Flags West, Because of You, Sign of the Pagan, The Toy Tiger, Durango, Raw Wind and Eden, and The Lady Takes a Flyer were among Chandler's favorite films listed in a 1960 interview. Chandler had an impact that went beyond just his movies. Show creator Doug Wildey based the white-haired veteran special agent Race Bannon on Chandler in the animated series Jonny Quest. The enduring influence of Chandler on popular culture was emphasized in this homage. In recognition of his many accomplishments in the film industry, Jeff Chandler was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 1770 Vine Street. Off-screen and on, he was adored by Hollywood for his meticulousness and commitment to his work. Talent, tenacity, and controversy are the threads that bind Chandler's narrative. Many unexpected events occurred throughout his life, including his ascent to fame, his infatuation with Esther Williams, and his tragic demise. Still, many remember him for his outstanding contributions to film and celebrate his legacy.